Greetings, Metallians, headbangers, metalists, and my least favorite metalers. Tonight's interview will be with the band Chrysalis, or Chrysalis, much like the now defunct record label, and it's featuring their newest record, Reminder. So, stand by. We'll be talking to them in just a few minutes. All right. So, Jesse, thank you for doing an interview with us. Where are you calling from today?
Calling from the hometown, Barstow, California.
What's Barstow by?
We're like right in between Los Angeles and Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a nice couple of bookends for you. You can go down to.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really shitty place. I mean, it's nothing but desert.
I suppose, but you can go to Vegas and play casinos, and you can go down to LA and play West Hollywood with whiskey and stuff like that. So.
The Hollywood scene pretty much sucks. I mean, like, if you notice, a lot of, like, big rock bands don't even tour in California anymore. It's crazy how much, how dead the rock scene is in California. It's mostly happening in the Midwest and, and a little more inland.
Yeah, I had a conversation about that with one of our member of our board of directors at the Gauntlet, and he said that they're dozing a lot of places like the Troubadour and a lot of stuff on the Strip is going to get replaced with like Gaps and things like that, So
yeah, it's kind of sad because a lot of these places are very historical.
Yeah.
But the problem is that people simply just, in Hollywood anyway, I know this is the case because I actually lived in LA for 2 years, not that long ago, and the metal scene and the hard rock scene just isn't big enough to support these venues anymore. And even if they were, those people just aren't supportive enough to the degree that they would, come out to all these shows. Well, that has a little bit to do with, how saturated the rock scene is. And, it's like everybody and their uncle has a rock band, and so it's kind of like, it's become kind of a chore to actually, go out and support all these bands.
Yeah. Jesse, may I ask you how old you are?
28.
28? Okay, so, one of the things we were talking about West Hollywood was, in the heyday, I'll go ahead and say the era from glam hair metal up through thrash, even though that was more focused in the Bay Area. But Motley Crue, and Rat and those bands, their audiences were filled with gorgeous women. And today's metal bands are filled with a few women, but they're not gorgeous. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the scene is much more male-focused now when it comes to metal.
Yeah.
And, I think the reason for that is because metal was, such a new thing back then, and it became cool. You were like, you were cool and edgy if you, poofed your hair out with crazy amounts of hairspray
Yeah.
and you know, wore super tight clothes and maybe even some guy liner and shit like that. You know, you were really edgy, and I mean, men and women wanted to be a part of that, and I think that you know, that kind of that expired a long time ago. I mean, it I mean, to be honest, I wasn't really a fan of a lot of the stuff. I mean, it was just kind of, you had a lot of bands that were just really come and go.
Yeah.
A few that were really good, and then a lot that were just like, you know, cashing in on the trend. And you get that now with like the new, you know, I think that the newest scene to attract, you know, fans of like different genders, different cultures would be, you know, the EDM scene, and you know, you get a lot of artists who just kind of are into cashing on that, and that's kind of a sign that like it's about to end, you know.
What's the EDM scene? I'm sorry, I feel extremely ignorant.
Like electronic music.
Okay, yeah, sure. You know, but there's
electronic dance music. Because that's kind of, you know, that's like the new thing, or the latest thing. But it has also become very, you know, overly saturated. But it's kind of liberating because music is becoming so much deeper than just, you know, being tied to like a cool thing.
Yeah.
You know, music is becoming a true part of somebody's, you know, listening experience.
Yeah, so
transcends, you know, what's hot at the time.
Absolutely. I agree with that totally. And it's kind of like the soundtrack to your life as a fan, and the artistry from the musicians is becoming more personal, and this is just my opinion, of course, but it seems to be becoming more personal and more opening up more, you know, doors inside your mind and exploring things that are, you know, maybe you wished hadn't happened and things like that. So it's pretty cool. But, you know, there is a problem. I just finished an article about the elephant in the room, and some companies that are working to try and save this, and that is bands. Now you've got a respectable following, but bands that are doing clubs and like theaters, you know, old restored theaters, those guys are at the poverty level, at the federal poverty level. And, you know, being single and young and in a band like that, it's easy to survive that way. But they're in minivans, and years ago, it was school buses. You got 5 guys sleeping in a minivan plus their equipment. You probably is that how you travel?
Actually, we were able to upgrade a few years ago to an RV.
Sweet.
But I mean, it's still tough. The same challenges are there. I mean, even though we've garnered a respectable following, it's still tough. I mean, I would say most of us are at the poverty level, and most bands are. Even a lot of musicians who you would think are doing well financially actually are not. And like, you know, for example, hip hop artists, they act like they have all this money because it's fashionable to do so. You know, it's like you have to. That's what your fans want. They want to see that, you know, that the artist that they're listening to is like this big timer and makes all this money because that's what they want for themselves. But truth be told, not many people in the music industry are making all this money, and it just goes to prove how much love there is mean, just imagine a reality where these people have just said, oh, well, screw it, you know, I mean, if we can't make a living off of this, then, you know, might as well not do it anymore. And, I mean, we wouldn't have arts and entertainment. You know, all these great artists that we've come to know and love wouldn't exist, you know, because they wouldn't be willing to make the sacrifice. But the truth is that they are.
Yes.
You know, and that's, you know, and it's bittersweet, you know, because, you know, because of the sacrifices that artists make for the public, you know, they're able to have entertainment and art to, as you put before, to kind of go along and act as the soundtrack of their lives. You know, that's how my family tends to remember things. That's how my dad remembers things. Like, you know, oh yeah, back in this year, you know, Van Halen released this album, and you know, it becomes almost a reference point.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, store your memories, and it's so important. But the sad part about it is that the musicians who contribute so much to our lives, even the big ones, don't get paid enough to have their own families.
Yeah.
To support their own family and to really, you know, to be rewarded for what they contribute to society. But that's just where we're at right now. I mean, I would love to see, you know, big reform when it comes to how artists are paid, specifically on Spotify.
Yes.
Because I mean, the people who created Spotify are paid just gross amounts of money. And like, yeah, they created the platform, but what they've created is a platform that features content from other artists. You know, and those artists deserve to be compensated for their contribution to the platform.
Absolutely. That's what it wouldn't exist without. It is an art gallery. I mean, you know, you don't get to take the Rembrandt home with you, but you can listen to it streaming. And, you know, Spotify, they're losing money because they're paying their executives and their board of directors so much money. And I had a statistic because I'm really into this whole we've got to turn this around kind of thing. And so I was watching a video by a band that had put up cue cards to bring their message across. You know, remember way back InXS did that same thing, and at any rate, it takes 125 full album listens on Spotify to make the same amount of money you would make for the sale of one record. Isn't that crazy?
How many was that?
125.
Wow.
From beginning to end. That's a value gap.
Yeah, that's huge. So that's 125 different people who, whereas before Spotify and before the age of digital downloads, that would have been 125 sales right there for a record.
Yes, or one record would have given you the same amount of money as 125 listens. So
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so you know that got me interested, and then I found a home in cryptocurrency, which is like Bitcoin and stuff like that.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Bitcoin?
I've heard of it. I haven't done any research into what it's about.
It's basically a new form of currency that has no central bank. It's worldwide, 24-hour day trading. There's about 600 cryptocurrencies in circulation now. They're anonymous and they're highly secure. They're like the most secure thing encryption-wise you can have. And I talked to a guy on the board of directors about putting a song. There's a thing called a blockchain. If you picture a railroad train with cars, each car would have a song in it, and the thing scales up infinitely without any degradation in performance. But every single song, like if I downloaded Halo and you downloaded Reminder, we would each have separate serial numbers. Or if I downloaded Halo and you downloaded Halo, there would be separate serial numbers for both of those. Now that seems like a lot of extra stuff, but this technology enables that, and it's fascinating. It could save some of the industry, I think. But in the article I wrote today, I said, for Spotify's doing a thing right now with 3 months for 99 cents or something like that. It's a promotion for their premium, and it wasn't a very good analogy, but it was just the same thing. It says, all artists of all mediums, from paint to sculpture to any expressive art, right? And metal is extremely dramatic and expressive. Are paid if they have, the larger their following is, the more money they make. And they can build a life for themselves in that. And so I said, what if Jackson Pollock, Rembrandt, Andy Warhol, and all those people were on a platform where they were free? Michelangelo, blah, 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 for 99 cents for 3 months, you could just get these pictures sent to you for free. Of course, there's only one of each. Van Gogh, and I put that in there as an analogy because those guys are artists. And they went through their starving period, but as they gained popularity, Van Gogh, after he died, the money came. And there's nothing wrong with making money. Anyway, I'm sorry I've talked too much on your interview. But you seem to have a pretty good grasp of what's going on.
It's fun stuff to talk about, but they're going back to the whole thing of metal and women in attendance. There actually still are some pretty girls out there, I must say.
I kind of overemphasized that. I'm talking about the metal chicks, with a lizard leash, pierced into her nose, and leather head to toe, and blue black hair kind of thing. And some of those girls are pretty too. A lot of the girls in metal bands, like Christina Scabia, is a very pretty woman. Tarja. Yeah. Tarja is gorgeous. Doro, she's a pretty attractive woman. So.
But yeah, they have more male fans than female fans. I could definitely count on that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, actually, we played the South by So What Festival in Texas not too long ago.
In Austin?
And, it was a really fun show. I was really surprised to see the diverse crowd that was there. I mean, people of all ages, ranging from, preteens to people in their late 30s. The indie scene has been around for a long time. It's never been this huge thing. It's just this scene that has a lot of love within it. And for people who get to experience that love, it's captivating and it holds on to you for years. And And I mean, there was like people who were there to see like Hawthorne Heights, that were like well into their 30s, because they were, they were in their early 20s or even in high school, when they started listening to music like that. And then you had a lot of the younger types who were at our show, checking out Dance Gavin Dance and some of the newer indie bands. So, I mean, it's still very much alive, just not in the way that, you see, like, the stereotypical, rock and roll, like, 80s persona.
Right. So, Jesse, tell me, what is your role in the band? Are you the vocalist?
Yes, I'm the singer of the band.
Okay, so are you the guy that can go from straight vocals to growler?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my band draws from so many different influences, and so it requires a lot of the different parts require that I have many different abilities to sing over each part. Sometimes being singing, and sometimes being a little more aggressive. Which I like that kind of diversity, because I'm like almost just nauseated by like the amount of just bands that just do this one thing.
I know what you're talking about, and when I first started this job, I had to go listen to it. Like I said, do we have any Beethoven around here? Because I was just so cooked out from just endless blood and screaming and yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like it's nice, if you're in the mood for it. But I mean, like if a song, basically, while I'm going down my Facebook feed and I see a band, I click on the music video, and if the first thing I hear is just distorted guitars, the drums, fast drums, and a growling singer, I just kind of change it. I just kind of skip past the video, because I've simply heard too much of that.
Yeah, I understand that. I can relate to that, absolutely.
And it's definitely, it's interesting because, we talk about how many bands there are out there, and like, how, saturated the rock scene is at times. And yet there's like this, scarcity of diversity within the rock scene.
Right.
It's crazy. I mean, you really have to dig for it. It's out there, trust me, it is. There's many great bands in the scene, but you have to like really dig for the shit,
Yeah, that's true. I found about 10 of them when I'm doing the roster for another publicist, and all of these guys are 40 or 50, but they've written some great stuff. They played for some big bands in the past and whatnot. But okay, so so we got this thing where death metal, gent, metalcore, or is it deathcore? I think it's deathcore. My subgenres are weak. And we've got that kind of leading the pack, and then there's a little bit of a thrash revival going on right now. And of course you got black metal and Viking metal and folk metal over in the Nordics. And Accept is back out there.
I think it's totally cool that Viking metal is an actual thing now.
Yeah, but the question is, where's this all?
There's even fucking goblin metal, dude. Like, have you heard of Necrogoblicon?
No, but I'm writing it down right now.
Oh, dude, check those guys out. They are so hilarious. I mean, there's a very strong comedic aspect to it too, but It is hilarious. But I mean, there's other like goblin core bands that like take themselves very seriously. Not even, but like it's just a thing like goblin metal.
Jesus, goblin core? Did you just say goblin core?
Yeah. I don't know if they refer to it as that, but yeah, it's like straight up goblin metal, dude. That's what.
Well, what's goblin metal? Like Gwar or something? Or give me would you say Gwar is goblin metal? Gwar?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Actually, I haven't heard too much of Gwar. I've only seen them in their crazy theatrics, in pictures and stuff like that. But I think isn't Gwar like that? They're more like rock and roll, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out what goblin music is.
Oh, dude, check out Necrogoblicon and you will know.
Okay, so Chrysalis used to be a record label, believe it or not.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, I remember Chrysalis Records.
And they
very, very clearly.
Yeah, but it's also is it not the larva of a butterfly?
Yes.
Okay. And did you?
We didn't know that when we chose the name. I think we just really liked the way it sounded.
Okay, so you said, "Oh, this is a cool name."
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, yeah. It has it's a good sounding word. Yeah.
Not very easy to spell. It's always been a problem for us.
Yeah, well, try to spell any.
I mean, a lot of people, a lot of people pronounce it Chrysalis, which is fine, but like, what I hate is when people will like add letters to it. Like so many people would just want to call us like Chrysalis. Like, where are you seeing the T, bro? Like they see like the CH and like I don't know, they just get confused by it like right there, like just the first two letters are confused and like they just want to like see crystal, a familiar word within like this, I guess what they think is a difficult word to spell and say, but.
Well, that's what but when you say the word chrysalis, you get a feeling of something that's crystalline and shining and that kind of thing. But here's the question now. Okay, so you didn't pick this as a thematic thing; it just sounded good. In the Reminder record, which, by the way, I don't know if you did this on purpose or not, but I've got an inbox full of reminders, and they're just they're just your band, and I'm thinking, oh God, oh shit, what do I got to do? Blah blah blah. Anyway, it's a great record. I like it a lot better than a lot of your contemporaries. I like the harmonies. They remind me of an old band called King's X, kind of, which had beautiful harmonies, just beautiful. It doesn't sound to me like there's some bands that they'll do they'll growl and just shred and then break down and switch to a pop song, like Justin Bieber pop song, and you sort of melded it into a part of the whole, as if there's different voices in the music communicating different things. And it's so I really have enjoyed listening to it. And now I did notice that a couple of your songs had female vocalists. Unless you can do that. Okay, so are they permanently on board with the band, or are they was that just a recording studio thing?
No, we just brought them in for a few sessions because most of the tracks that we used were from our friend Brigitte Roca. She's from this band called Aboleth, and they're LA-based metal band. And we brought her in because I had expressed to our producer for the album, Ulrich Wild. He's done a lot of great stuff in the past. If you haven't heard of him, he did, White Zombie back in the day. He did Pantera, Deftones. So he knows a lot of people. So when I expressed to him that I wanted to have female vocals on the album, on certain songs over certain parts, he knew exactly who to call. So he called Brigitte. We brought her over, and we had a hard time at first because she definitely comes from a much different style. She's much more of a rock, like Janis Joplin type of voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for sure. So she didn't want to just lose all of that, for the sake of featuring on our album, but we definitely wanted to get a performance that would meld well, with our style rather than, being this kind of thing that, stands out, far, too far into left field. And I think we were definitely able to do that with Brigitte.
Now, is Brigitte the name of the...
She was able to find the balance between her own style and then, having to adapt to our style.
Okay, so is Brigitte... What's the name of the band that she's in? Because my wife is...
Aboleth.
How do you spell that?
A-B-O-L-E-T-H.
All right, here's something that reminds me. What do you think of bands with no vowels?
Bands with no vowels in the title?
In the name of the band?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool at first, but I'm kind of getting sick of seeing it now.
It's like, what the hell do you call these guys?
Or sometimes, Paris, the A is upside down. The A is a V.
Yeah, or they use a V for a U, like Latin.
Or churches. Yeah. I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just running out of names, bro.
Oh, you
that's
should.
how saturated, the music community is. It's like, you gotta start, I can't wait until, people start, just adopting French. Just start naming their bands, different languages.
Yeah. That's something I'd never thought of before, really.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Yes, it would. Okay, so, what do you think of Gojira?
I love them.
They're fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, I really love their style.
Yeah, I have been following them since Terra Incognita, and I said, there's just something here going on. And there's a band in Canada called Voivod, and I heard the similarities in the guitarist's scaling and his use of dissonance and things like that. And I finally got my redemption when, what was it called? What's the name of the magazine? It's a pop magazine. At any rate, it's very popular. And they wrote an article that said, when is someone going to tell us that Voivod and Gojira are similar? And one's French Canadian and the other one's French, so just a little tidbit there. How's the writing process go for you?
Many different ways. I mean, sometimes it'll start with just a very simple part that I wrote on the guitar, and me and the guys will, jam on it for a few hours until we get a different idea, or expand on that idea, or sometimes the idea just leads us to a completely new set of ideas. that's the important thing in songwriting, is to never be, to never give up on new possibilities, because sometimes there's been situations where I've written a few riffs or even an entire song. I really like it, and I really want it to translate well. But then, when I bring it in the room with the other guys from Chrysalis, something just doesn't really click well. Something just doesn't really work. And instead of using that idea, to expand off of it to complete a song, it just kind of leads to something else, entirely different, that I would have never anticipated. And I think those are the songs that turn out the best, because they're the most fresh. They don't have as much thinking.
Yeah, very organic process, sounds like.
Yeah. And then there's the songs where, I just wrote a song, it turned out to be good, showed it to the guys, and we just laid it out, So,
Right.
I mean, it just, that's the beauty of the album, is that, there's a lot of songs on an album, on a full-length album, like, anywhere between 9 to, sometimes 15. And that's a lot of songs, that's not, and it's not as simple as just writing a few hit singles and throwing them out there on Spotify, like a lot of these new pop artists do. It's like every fucking song is like this coordinated hit.
Yeah.
The way an album should be, and used to be commonly, is like this collection of work over a certain a certain amount of time, and a lot of those songs came from such different periods of the artist's development, and sometimes you can even hear it on the album. Sometimes you could even hear some of the songs that would never become a hit, because maybe they're slightly premature, or maybe it's just not the thing that would hit the airwaves, for whatever reason. But it's a good song, and it fits so well on this body of work that is the album,
Right. Yeah, album-oriented rock is still the way that the artists put out music. Even though they could easily go to singles, like in the 50s and 60s. That would be a tragedy if you ask me. I like the album orientation. Is there a common theme in your album, even though it's so diverse musically? Is there any common theme, or?
I would say that lyrically, yes, because lyrics tend to be the last thing that I work on. I mean, I might have melodies in mind and stuff like that, but the actual words don't come until all the music is laid out. And that was the same thing on our last album, Focus on the Center, and the common thing to the lyrics on that one was religion and themes of Eastern culture and religion, like Taoism and Confucianism, Buddhism, and these different things that I was studying as sort of like when I was younger, kind of rebelling against my Christian upbringing. And on this album, Reminder, the common thing, the common theme between songs, I would say that you mostly hear is like love and loss and heartbreak, which is something that it's funny. I never thought I would, really delve into it as much as I did, but it's just such an essential part of life experience that, I mean, as an artist, as a musician, you'll never escape matters of the heart. They will always find their way into your work.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful thing because it makes it relatable. A lot. I mean, who hasn't, you know, suffered from loss, and who hasn't been heartbroken? I mean, very few of us. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like this album will reach out and
yes, I was emotionally moved by it.
Emotionally, yeah.
I mean, I was actually moved, you know, emotionally. That is, that's good art. When you can change someone's feelings and take them on a journey. Okay, so I was going to guess that was somewhere where you were, because I did a review of a band called The Reticent. And this was a gentleman who watched his best friend blow his head off. And he had to, in order to get through that tough period, he had to write an album that was all about what happened. And I had that same feeling here, you know, in certain places where I was like, God, the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. I might have a tear coming out of my eye, whatever. And it's really good. So you guys have a respectable following. Your YouTube views on what did you drop on YouTube? Was it Reminder or?
It was Reminder is the title of the album, and the single that we just released is called My Eternity.
Right. Okay. Yeah. There's like 150,000 views already.
Yeah. Not too bad, right?
No, not too bad at all, considering,
yeah,
you know.
I think that's a result of all the hard work we've been putting in and all the touring.
Sure. It's interesting when I'm going to jump back and you're talking about the Midwest, the metal belt. I live in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm smack dab in the middle of the Midwest, more or less. But I'm originally from North Dakota, and I had a metal map made by a data scientist that said where do most of the metal bands come from in the United States, and I did one for the world per capita, not just gross numbers, and I was really shocked to see that Milwaukee beats out LA. It was really weird, and this was metal bands too. Sweden beats everybody. It was color coded, and the darker the color, the more they had. They were pitch black. So anyway, so we got a little more time left. I do. Do you have some time?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm going to take you through some non-traditional questions, because you probably get sick of, you know, who are your influences, but I want to ask one traditional question. Was there a moment in your childhood when you said, I know what I'm going to do?
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember that moment very, very clearly, yeah.
Everybody that's got any fame at all that I interview says the exact same thing. It's freaking unbelievable that there's this phenomenon. Did you have a record that you played like 60 times and burned it out?
No, it wasn't really that. I think I was at like this banquet. I was really young. I can't even remember the event, but I was at a banquet, and I think it was for my stepdad's work, and they were having some kind of party, and there was karaoke going on, and me not at that point not having any problem getting in front of people and singing, I did it, and I couldn't get enough of it. I kept on signing up for all these songs that I didn't even know the words to, and I was just like, you know, reading the lyrics off the teleprompter, probably not even singing it right. But I was just having so much fun that at that point, I really felt it got drilled in by like the sixth song that I did. I was like, okay, like, no, I think this is what I'm going to end up doing with my life.
That's a fantastic story. Did you graduate from high school?
I should have, but I was supposed to graduate in '06. I didn't end up getting my diploma. I skipped too much school, and somehow never got starved. I don't know how that didn't come down on my parents or at that point my aunt and my grandmother for not making sure I was going to school. I was just ditching every day. I would go to the classes that I liked, my English class. I really liked in political science. Those were the classes that I liked, and then I would just leave and go to our manager John's house and play music all day.
That's going to make a good story in your biography one day. What is the most unmetal music you listen to? If you need a palette,
unmetal?
The most unmetal music that you listen to. Right now, the winner of this, over 30-some interviews, is Billy Ocean. He's the most unmetal. But
okay, I listen to a lot of stuff that isn't metal. I mean, I listen to so many different genres of music that I would say that metal is probably what I listen to the least.
Okay.
But it's hard to pinpoint an artist, or the most unmetal artist. I guess I would have to say DJ Snake.
Okay.
Or Deadmau5 and stuff like that. But there is a singer that I've been listening to a lot lately. His name's Mike Snow.
Right.
And, yeah, I really like his stuff. I'm pretty sure he's a European-based artist, but yeah, I really like his stuff. And there's this other artist who I've been really into lately. Her name is Meg Myers, and I would check her out if I were you. I mean, she is a phenomenal artist.
I've got her written down.
What was that?
I said I've got her written down. I always like assignments, so I got next problem.
Nice. Yeah, Meg Myers is just, I really connect with her music. It's raw, it's gritty, it's rock and roll. It's so many different things. I mean, each of her songs sounds different. It sounds like a completely different artist. But at the same time, ties together very well. So I'm always impressed how artists can do that. And I was just, I looked up her biography, and come to find out, she's a little older than I am. She's 30 years old. She was born in '86. And so, I was surprised because she looks very young. I mean, she looks like just, like young 20s. Early to mid 20s was what I would have guessed, but she's actually 30 years old. So then, at the same time, I wasn't too surprised because it seems that the music that we connect to the most is very generational, and her being around the same age as me, obviously she probably has similar influences and writes music a certain way. So I think that was kind of the reason that I connected with her so much, is because her music was so good to me, and when I looked her up, she just happened to be my age.
Have you gotten her phone number yet?
Her phone number?
Yeah, have you got her phone number? I said.
No.
Okay.
No, I would love to.
Go for it, man. Then you might be the guy at Spinal Tap who brings his girlfriend and she wants to play the tambourine.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably be like, amongst the 5 million dudes who ask for her phone number in her inbox.
Yeah, you never know, man. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Okay.
We could definitely use a tambourine player.
We need more cowbell, I think. No, I don't think that. So you write the vocal melodies and the words, right?
Yeah, I write a lot of the songs as well. I play guitar and piano, keyboards.
Okay, so.
And I sing, so most of the material starts with me and then ends with the rest of the band.
So, do you have any formal musical training?
Yeah, definitely. My aunt got me into guitar lessons when I was about 12 years old. My uncle, taught me how to play a power chord before that, and that was about it. And I took lessons from the time that I was 12 to about 16 from this guy named Patrick Keys, who's a phenomenal musician. And he taught me a lot of good stuff, but mainly he was like a family friend, and some of the more important things that I feel he taught me was from when we were just kind of hanging out and talking. He's a very spiritual man, and he taught me the importance, especially in the music industry, the importance of humility.
Oh yeah.
And I think that those talks that we would have and the times that we hung out, I feel like that was much more important than the actual music lessons. Which were also great. I mean, he taught me how to focus and to drill on things that are difficult, and repeat them over and over again. And I hear a lot of people say there seems to be this admiration for artists who were self-taught. But I think a lot of those artists are selling their influences short by saying that, no formal training here.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was completely self-taught. It's like everyone, draws inspiration from somewhere.
Sure.
Whether it's other artists that you hear on the radio, it's like you're constant, as an artist, you're either consciously or subconsciously drawing inspiration from so many different sources, that it's almost, kind of, a self-fulfilling prophecy to say that, I'm completely self-taught, it's kind of, it's always been kind of stupid to me when I hear artists say that. It's like, yeah, right. But I'm very thankful for my formal training. And I was in choir before that. I had a lot of great singing instructors, and I think that if I hadn't have had that, I'd still be a musician. I would have just been a different musician. I would have been, I would have drawn from different inspirations and just been on a different course in my creative path. But I'm very thankful that those people were there.
My God, Jesse. I got to tell you, I have never talked to a 28-year-old man who was so grounded. Maybe you don't feel grounded, but hell,
No, thanks. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, you're very articulate. You understand the process, and you were studying Eastern religions in high school, were you?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, geez, I was still like afraid of hell in high school,
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, but I knew I was going to hell because I was a party freak, and so I figured I might as well
Well,
do it
as
in
you listen
style.
to metal stuff, that
Yeah,
does it right there, man.
yeah. There was a lot of those shows and traveling tent revivals saying, "But this is satanic, burn it, burn it." Uh, and I had one of my friends just freak out, and he was a Orthodox Greek Catholic, and but it's just, you know, you don't hear about people of your age um, wanting to know more about that kind of thing, you know, and talking about humility. My God, I mean, I didn't learn humility until I was in my 40s. You know, I didn't learn the benefit and value and necessity for humility. I might have been humble, but I didn't study the value. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
like
definitely. That's why I'm very glad to have had, like I said, you know, the influences that I had in my life, because you know, I would have been, you know, kind of uh, navigating the world, and you know, the world of music also, you know, blindly, and having to learn things the hard way.
right. Yeah, so that's really fascinating. You said English was your favorite subject. Do you read?
Yeah, definitely.
What kind of books do you read?
I read all kinds of shit. I mean, I just recently got into reading fiction. When I was a kid, of course, I read a bunch of Star Wars books,
Sure.
and then started, you know, getting into, you know, religious texts and stuff like that. And recently, I've just been reading a lot of documentaries,
Biographies and stuff.
or biographies. I mean, yeah, biographies and autobiographies and shit like that. Just because, especially, you know, from successful people, because I find it fascinating, you know, the road to success.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love
And
that.
I feel like maybe I'll like learn something.
Sure.
You know, but the biggest parallel that I seem to draw from all these biographies of successful people is that, you know, they had their own unique road. You know,
Yeah.
they had to pave their own way. You know, it's like there doesn't seem to be this one recipe.
No.
You know, foolproof recipe for success. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
mere adaptation.
There's also no get rich quick schemes that work.
I mean, you know, a lot of the get rich quick schemes will, you know, help you get someone else rich.
Yeah.
There's no one. That's another thing I learned, is that you will never meet anyone who is going to try to make you rich or make you successful.
Right.
You know, they're going to help you make them rich and successful. You know?
Yes. It sounds like you've been reading some Machiavelli there. Okay, so and I could talk to you for a long time. I'd like to catch up with you after the album drops sometime and see how your tour ends up. But where can we get?
Yeah, we're going out on tour with Flaw on the 13th, starting the 13th, the day that our album drops, actually.
So you got that'll be your second outing, right? Second album.
Third album, actually.
Third, okay.
The first album didn't gain too much traction. It's kind of we kind of try to sweep it under the rug, but it's there.
Okay. Cool.
So we did that. That was our self-titled. We did that when we were in high school. Focus on the Center came out in 2014, and now we're releasing this one called Reminder, and it comes out on January 13th.
7 days away.
Yes, sir. And it is available for pre-order right now.
Well, I'm going to be writing her.
Actually, go to any of the platforms and pre-order it.
Okay. So to tell the fans that are listening, it's available wherever music is sold. Could we say that?
Yes, sir.
And CD Baby, Spotify, blah blah blah. Okay, so Gauntlet Headbangers. We have been talking to Jesse from Chrysalis. This is a record you're going to want to have. Go listen to the YouTube video that's out there, and tell me it doesn't make you curious to dip your toes in it further. Jesse, I appreciate your time. And
you too, Kenny. It's been a great conversation, man.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I've never ever been as impressed by an individual as you, because you're kind of like a Renaissance man, or.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that, Kenny. I hope we get to talk again in the future.
All right. This interview will be published audio, and I will put put slides or something together to accompany the audio, and it'll probably be a 2-week out because I'm 18 deep. I'm 18 production videos deep right now, and we have five of our writers are out with influenza. So, at any rate, let's break, and you have yourself a good evening. I guess it's only 1 o'clock there, probably, right?
Yeah. We actually we have to start packing up for a show we're playing down the hill, Southern California tonight. So I'm gonna get over there to where the band is at, start helping load equipment.
Sweet. I'm envious. Well, at any rate, good luck with your show, your tour. I hope the album does sell. I still buy CDs. I'm like old-fashioned, you know. I gotta have.
I was actually reading your article about why you should still buy CDs. It was a good article.
How did you find that?
It was on the Gauntlets website.
Yeah, but didn't you have to surf around there? We have like 200 and some thousand articles on there.
You know, I think I don't know why I found it. I actually I Googled you guys, and that was the first article to come up in the search.
I got you. Yeah, I screwed up a few things in that article. I'd like to go back and fix it, but I won't. I'll wait another year. I had some other reasons, but
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, that's cool that you read that, man. That really is cool. And so I'm an old-fashioned guy. I want to hold something, and I'm also an audiophile, so I like to hit the sound as perfect as possible. The mix down on this is fantastic. At flat, it's a fully tubed out sound. I don't know if you guys had a producer or what, but it's very, very good mix. So I'll say goodbye. And what Jesse, what's your last name?
Burton.
Is that a stage name or is that your actual?
Yeah, Yessie Burton is my stage name.
Okay. So when this goes public, I will. I'm going to try to get a review of your record done and this posted as a feature article, and then I will notify you on your Facebook page in the contact section. If you have one of those, I was like, I'll give you the URL and everything. You can expect that it will be hit maybe 100,000 people will read it or will listen to
Oh,
it.
wow, great.
Yes, and over the year, you can expect that 500,000 probably will read it. We are the last independent. Not there might be others out there, but we're one of the last independent alternative presses. And
Okay.
and so, everybody else is sort of like merged into these giant things, and but
Right.
we did a survey of our audience, which is very loyal, and said, do you think we should get WordPress going and clean up the site and make it look like Blabbermouth or Loudwire? And like 68% said no, we like the grassroots look. So we're kind of in a quandary about that. Anyway,
Interesting.
yeah, it is interesting. It really is. But I'm gonna go on do my assignments now with Necrogoblicon, Meg Myers, Aboleth, and I'm looking forward to it. So have a good evening. And
You too, Kenny. Yeah, thanks for talking with me, man.
you bet. Take care.
All right, take it easy, brother.
See ya.